Welcome to Soccer Morning on World Soccer Talk. Here's your host, Jason Davis.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome into Soccer Morning. Happy to have you coming out of a very, very busy soccer weekend. We are live. We are on the air. We will take your phone calls later in this program. We had hoped to line up somebody to give us some proper on-the-ground insight into the happenings in Chile with Copa America 2015, and perhaps we'll work on that. But as you can imagine, people are very busy covering a lot of soccer. We're going to talk some Copa America today. I'd love to have any of you out there watching Copa America give us a call. Let's talk about some happenings down there, because Peru nearly pulled off a bit of a shock, except that Neymar's very, very good. Venezuela actually did. Okay, I'm ruining the news, so I apologize for that. Let me get into the news so we can properly do this here on a Monday morning. There's plenty to cover. No rush. We're easing our way into the week. Just easing our way into the week. First and foremost, the latest development in FIFA Apocalypse says that Sepp Blatter is reconsidering his decision to step down as FIFA president. Now, this comes from a report out of Switzerland, a newspaper, Schweiz am Sonntag. No idea if I'm getting that anywhere close to correct. Citing a former advisor to Sepp Blatter, says he may intend to actually wait this thing out, try to stay on as president. Now, Domenico Scala, the man who is overseeing the new election to bring in a replacement for Sepp Blatter, has warned that a change is essential and that the reforms can only be far-reaching if Sepp Blatter steps down and someone replaces him. This morning, FIFA itself has issued a statement saying that Sepp Blatter stands by his comments from June 2nd, the day he quote-unquote resigned. Again, I did not call it a resignation because he didn't call it a resignation. He said something about laying down his mandate, which again just still sounds like a euphemism for something else. And that the timeline would be 8 to 12 months or whatever the heck it is. I guess it's not 12 months, 6 to 8 months. No one should be surprised if he is trying to stay on. Again, FIFA has issued a statement saying that he intends to step aside when a new president is elected, and that the individual cited in the newspaper has no longer with FIFA. So maybe this is a false alarm, much ado about nothing, but we will see, because Blatter has a lot of time to figure out that he doesn't want to leave. Until he is actually gone, don't believe a thing the man says. Certainly don't believe anything that comes out of FIFA and the propaganda machine surrounding FIFA. Let's go back to Friday. The U.S. women's national team taking on Sweden in their second group match at the 2015 Women's World Cup in Canada. A goalless draw with the Swedes was the ultimate result. 90 minutes of not real great soccer played there between the United States and Pia Sundhage's team. It does leave the Americans top of Group D on 4 points. The Swedes having previously drawn with Nigeria, and the Aussies on 3 points after they took down Nigeria. The United States has Nigeria coming up tomorrow. There is a suspension, by the way. Let me see if I may not have that in front of me. I'll try to pull that up. I believe that a Nigerian player was suspended for an elbow against Australia. And I don't want to get the name. I don't want to get the player's name wrong. So I'll look on that. I'll look at that. Certainly the United States needs to win, to not only win the group outright, get that done and over with, but also go into the knockout rounds with something approaching a bit of confidence. Because after that match against Sweden, when the United States failed to score, Wambach came out and said, who I believe she played as a substitute. I'm not sure how many minutes she got. She obviously didn't start. She was the substitute in that match. She came out and said the reason that the United States can't score goals is because of the turf. The turf. Now, I'm no fan of the turf, and I'm certainly not in agreement with FIFA that playing the entire tournament on turf is an okay thing. I still don't believe, I'm still with the women on this, that FIFA would make a men's tournament play, a senior level, top level World Cup men's tournament on turf. I don't believe they would do that. So while I can understand where the frustration comes from, Abby Wambach probably needs to stop talking about this for a couple of reasons. Number one, those chances had nothing to do with turf. And number two, as long as you have a sponsorship agreement, as long as you have a marketing deal and are making money on the back of a natural grass supplier, Scott, no one's going to believe a thing you say. Now, good on Scott for signing up the U.S. women for this campaign. Good publicity for them. But as long as Abby Wambach's making money off of that deal, she shouldn't be talking about artificial turf. There's a bit of a there's a bit of a conflict of interest there. In other Women's World Cup scorelines, Colombia with the shock of the tournament so far, beating Spain 2-0. I'm sorry, Spain. France 2-0. France controlled most of that game, but the Colombians hit hard on the break and win that game 2-0 to get 3 points in a very tough group. Brazil beat Spain on Saturday. All these games, first 4 games here on Saturday. England 2-1 against Mexico on Saturday. Solid showing from the English. South Korea 2, Costa Rica 2. And then today's games, Ivory Coast and Norway at 4 o'clock, Thailand and Germany at 4 o'clock, China, New Zealand, and Netherlands, Canada happening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. Copa America scores because that's going on, as I mentioned. Mexico opened up their Copa America campaign with a goalless draw against Bolivia on Friday. Not a good result for the Mexicans. Bolivia is the weakest team in that group. They absolutely needed to win if they want to progress and do anything in this tournament, and they did not. Uruguay 1-0 over Jamaica on Saturday. Argentina played to a draw by Paraguay 2-2. Colombia, this is the surprise so far. The women's team creating the surprise at the Women's World Cup. The men's team on the other end of things at Copa America as Venezuela beats Colombia 1-0 on Sunday. Also yesterday, Brazil 2, Peru 1. Brazil scoring in the 92nd minute to break that deadlock. Today's matches, Ecuador, Bolivia at 5 o'clock Eastern. Chile and Mexico. So the hosts against Mexico tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. In MLS, obviously a schedule of games here in the domestic league. 5 games on the schedule. New York City FC beating Montreal 3-1. Good showing for the New Yorkers. Mixdiscaru gets on the scoreboard. David Villa and Poku with his first MLS goal. Columbus 1, LA 1. Very nice goal from Sebastian Lejet. What is it? I can't. Sorry. It was a great little dummy, a little step over on the pass, and then a left-footed laced shot to the near post. New England 2, Chicago 0. Diego Fagundes with the stunner in that game. Seattle 3, Dallas 0. Obafemi Martin scores. Lamar Nagel scores. And Leo Gonzalez scores. Leo Gonzalez, if he's scoring on you, you know you probably had a bad day out at the park. FC Dallas. Orlando 1, DC United 0. Good win for Orlando. They do get that win off the back of a mildly questionable penalty. I'm not sure I saw it. Not sure exactly what the referee saw that was any different than what replays showed. It 50-50, shoulder to shoulder, maybe not. But to call that a penalty with Pedro Rivero going down pretty easily, maybe stretching things just a little bit. You also had a bunch of European qualifiers this weekend as well. England stays perfect in their campaign as they beat Slovenia on the back of a Wayne Rooney winner. Jack Wilshere also scores in that game. Ukraine 3, Luxembourg 0. These games are from yesterday. England 3-2, over Slovenia. Other highlights, Austria beating Russia 1-0, and now the Russian FA reportedly considering firing Fabio Capello for that particular bad result. Spain 1-0 over Belarus, a little tight for them. Switzerland 2-1, Lithuania. Slovakia 2-1 over Macedonia. Sweden 3-1 over Montenegro. So there you go. Let's take a break. When we come back, open up the phone lines. Let you get in with whatever you've got from the weekend. It is Soccer Morning. WorldSoccerTalk.com. Don't go anywhere. I'll be here. The best way to get to watch Copa America and the greatest players in the world, including Leo Messi, Neymar, James Rodriguez, and Alexis Sanchez, is on Sling International's exclusive broadcast of Copa America on beIN Sports. Sling TV is the #1 live international TV service in the U.S. It's a safe and legal streaming service that delivers your favorite sports and more to your TV, tablet, phone, and computer. For just $10 a month, you can watch every single Copa America game live or on demand, featuring Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Chile, Uruguay, and more. Plus, Sling International gives you access to Barca TV, Real Madrid TV, and the New York Cosmos, Serie A, and more top networks offered by Sling TV. There's no commitment, no annual contract, and no satellite dish needed. Don't miss the best leagues in the world on Sling International. Sign up today at www.sling.com/soccer. Again, that's sling.com/soccer.
Welcome back to Soccer Morning on World Soccer Talk with Jason Davis.
Just easing ourselves into a brand new week here at Soccer Morning. Thank you very much for listening as always, whether you do so live at worldsoccertalk.com/live or on the podcast via iTunes or Stitcher. Are we on TuneIn still? That's a thing, right? We are on SoundCloud. Sometimes I listen back on SoundCloud if I'm worried about how a show went. And then I listen and I cringe the entire time because listening to yourself is a strange experience. We do have the phone lines open if you've got anything from the weekend. And I really haven't dived in fully to either Copa America, MLS, the Women's World Cup. I mean, there's so much here. 646-832-3909. Stephen Clark on Twitter. Soccer Morning, about to take a hydration break. I foresee it. I probably will need a hydration break. What's the rule? Is it like I was listening, I think, to a audio broadcast because I'm in D.C., so the D.C. Metro, the DMV, as we like to say. And I'm driving around on last night. I had something to do. I think I was coming here actually to do the best soccer show because the game was game started at 7. So I was on my way here to do the best soccer show, and I'm listening to DC United and Orlando on the radio. Strong FM, well, not a strong FM signal, a strong FM signal if you live on the eastern side of the city. It went a little in and out for me. But regardless, I can hear it. And they talked about the hydration break. They took a water break at half, like with 25 minutes gone in the second half. Is that the rule? Is it 30 minutes? Whatever it is. There's a rule. It's built in. So it's a 30-minute water break if the temperature is above It's something like 86.9 degrees or something. Or 86.6. There's some like point number on that. Why? Is that because we're converting from into Fahrenheit from Celsius? Maybe that's what it is. Because we're Americans and we do things weird. And we don't use Celsius like the rest of the world. So when they convert it, it probably comes out with a decimal. I just figured that out on the fly. I apologize for anybody who already knew that. 646-832-3909 is your phone number. Again, hit me. Copa America, Women's World Cup. Tell me how you feel about that performance on Friday for the U.S. women. Because I think the general conclusion is a point against Sweden. Okay, that's not terrible. The way that they played, not good enough. Not even close to good enough. And that's even considering that the French lost. Like, even the French, I think, are still more considered better favorites, bigger favorites in this tournament than the United States, even though the U.S. hasn't lost a game and France has. Because France is going to go through. There's no doubt about that. And if they flip the switch and they turn it on, they should be fine. Everybody knows they'll be fine. And they got beat by a very opportunistic, counterattacking Colombia team. It happens. And that game was 1-0 until the closing minutes, when clearly France is pushing, trying to get the equalizer. Colombia gets a break. They get the ball out quickly. France's goalkeeper did something weird, came way off the line. And it was interesting because instead of chipping the keeper, which the Colombian who had the ball certainly could have tried to do and probably would have scored, she saw a free runner, made the correct pass. The ball gets slotted home, and boom, there you go. Colombia up 2-0. And it was over then. No chance for France to come back. Steven says, what bothered me about the hydration break is that the clock continued to run. Stoppage time seemed not to include the break. That's an oversight. Certainly that's an oversight. But look, I don't think this happens very often. I remember the water break in Utah. It's in Salt Lake City, I don't know, 6 years ago. I think that's 6 years ago, right? Something like that. There was a water break between RSL and somebody a long, long time ago. And I don't really recall how that went down. But it's got to be such a weird thing for a referee to deal with. It's not normal. It's not what you usually do. I mean, these aren't 8-year-olds. When you're 8, you take a water break. You're supposed, hey, let's keep these kids healthy. Give them a water break. When they're adults and senior level, they don't do that very often. It's not something we think about very often. So maybe he just forgot to add in that time. I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't. I'm going to give him an excuse, but it's got to be weird. Absolutely, got to be weird. 646-832-3909. So the ball goes out and then they take the break, right? I'm sorry, I'm fascinated by this, and because I didn't actually see it. So did the ball go out? They take the break, and then whoever the ball belonged to just throws the ball in off the break. That's got to be what it is, right? Now, if I wanted to be really pedantic and traditionalist here, I could argue that taking the players off the field for a water break changes their positions, which gives an advantage to. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't think I'm going to do that. You don't really want to do that. I really don't want to. Copa America is fun. If you're not watching that tournament, please try to catch some of it. In fact, I just did a read for Sling TV International. Sling International. You need to get that so you can get Copa America, because that tournament is fantastic. It throws up surprises every single time. I'm watching that Brazil-Peru game, and that game was 1-1. First of all, the goals came in the 3rd and 5th minute. So goals right out of the gate. Neymar, by the way, Peru, please mark Neymar. Please mark Neymar. Everybody. Well, they're not going to play him again. Mark Neymar, because I don't think the man should have a free header inside the 6-yard box. But that game was 1-1 until very late, obviously, when Brazil got the winner. But I said something on Twitter about, hey, Peru is playing toe-to-toe with Brazil. It wasn't just that Peru was level with Brazil. it was also that Peru was not backing down. This was not bunker, defend first kind of soccer from the Peruvians. They were going at Brazil just as much as Brazil was coming at them. And it was great to watch. It was fun to watch. Somebody on Twitter said to me, shouldn't they be a favorite? They did make the quarters in 2000 in the last Copa America, which was what, 2013? I think that's what it was. And I said, well, you know what? The way that this tournament goes, yeah, I guess they might. Why not? They did finish. They finished third. There you go. The way this tournament goes, the way Copa America typically goes, how can you just eliminate Peru as a possible team to make a deep run? You can't. You can't, because this is how weird this tournament is. This is why we talk about South American football being crazy. Fantastic stuff. Just fun. Especially if you don't have a rooting interest, you can just watch it and enjoy it. I don't particularly like this Brazilian team. I mean, I love watching Neymar play because he's so good. But I don't like. David Luiz is all over the place. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't know how you're a fan of Dani Alves or Thiago Silva. I don't know how you're a fan of these people. I mean, just in general terms. I don't know how you're just all in on Brazil. They're not. I don't think they're fun. Neymar's fun. Neymar, in fact, had two like consecutive sombreros. He sombreroed a guy, came around the other side, and then hit the ball back and sombreroed him the other direction without the ball touching the ground. If you have not seen this GIF or Vine or whatever format it's in on the interwebs, then you have been living under a rock for the last 48 hours because it's everywhere. 24 hours. I guess that was yesterday. Tyler, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, I just wanted to hear your thoughts about NYCFC finding its stride scoring with the 3-1 win, and Mix coming on at the end with the ovation, and just I'm still on a high from the men's national team,
yeah.
Doing so well in Europe. And what do you think?
Yeah, they look good. I mean, they did. They look good. Now, I still don't know how good Montreal is, especially away from home. I mean, I know Montreal went to Columbus and got a result. Columbus is kind of going down the drain at the moment. They'll come back, but this is a bad stretch for them. So I don't know how to judge Montreal at the moment. So that makes it tougher to whether to put NYCFC in their proper context. But that being said, that was a very strong performance. I think it's great that Poku gets his first goal in MLS. You got a confident Distru coming back for the national team. Clearly, that was a very well taken goal in terms of placement. You need David Villa scoring. That's just a must. I think they're probably better without Nemec in the lineup, but I don't know what Kreis is going to do when he comes back. And they're probably better with Tommy Mack in the lineup, but I don't know how you work those pieces around, especially with Mix back and Lampard coming in. Tyler, are you with me?
And the other question I had was about Pirlo. And making that even more of a jammed up midfield.
Yeah, that's probably not a done deal. I do wonder. I mean, I haven't seen it as a done deal. I've seen a lot of rumors, but I don't know where Pirlo sits right now. Sipping wine and hanging out. Let's just wait. But that would jam up the midfield even more. And I want to see Tommy Mac. Now, this is selfish for me because I don't have a rooting interest in NYCFC. I want to see Tommy McNamara play. And I think if you got Frank Lampard, Andrea Pirlo, and Mix Diskerud, and you got Ned Grabavoy, who I think is underrated and does so much dirty work for you. Where's McNamara going to play? There's just nowhere for him to play. Where's Poku going to play?
3-5-2.
Okay, where's Poku going to play? Because I know he's only coming into it a little bit, and he gets a start against Philly. He was off the bench against Montreal, but I'd like to see him get significant playing time. I would like to see him get some starts, and maybe you can imagine that would happen anyway with older guys like Pirlo and Lampard probably sitting a fair amount. But I don't think there's enough minutes to go around.
Yeah. The other thought that I had with all those midfielders was the 2010 World Cup with Bob Bradley, the way they played those, and when they were so direct and they played everybody in the middle. There was like no wide players, period, except for the fullbacks.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of central midfielders.
8 dudes down the center of the field.
Yeah, there's a lot of central midfielders on this in this group right now. And again, I don't know if Pirlo's actually coming, but Lampard's a central midfielder. Yeah. Poku's a central midfielder. McNamara needs to be in the middle. I think he could probably play wide, but I don't think that's his strength. Discaru can play sort of a flank position, but he's not a wide midfielder. So yeah, you're jammed up with central mids. And you know what? If you play the diamond, that's okay. And Grabavoy as well. But that's okay because you're not trying to get width out of your midfield, but you still have too many guys for not enough spots. It's a tough thing.
I like to see him scoring.
Yeah, no, look, it's great that they're scoring goals, Tyler. That's step one. I think, and let's remember that the point is to win the game, and in order to win the game, I think you have to score at least once. I'm gonna have to check my math.
Yeah, well, at least one more than the other team.
That's right. But you have to score at least one goal. They did score 3 on the weekend. Good stuff for them. Thanks for the call, Tyler. You got anything else you want to share?
That's it.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Jason.
Birmingham backline on Twitter wasn't there a water break at the World Cup with the United States and Ghana? There may have been. I know it was super hot in Brazil, so that would not surprise me at all if there were water breaks. I'm not saying that there's not a precedent here and it hasn't happened fairly, not often, but enough that people are aware of it. I just don't remember what the rules are, generally speaking, because it's just not something that happens enough for me to be worried about. It's like, oh, a water break? Oh, that's interesting. Let's play some more soccer, please. 646-832-3909. MLS, Copa America, women's national team. Tell me your thoughts here about Abby Wambach and about her comments regarding the turf, because that to me, even if you believe that this is the case, even if she is convinced that the United States is failing to score goals, and remember they scored 3 in their opener, but even if she believes they failed to score against Sweden because of the turf, because of the artificial surfaces that everybody has to play on, even if she's 100% convinced that that's the case, because she is signed up as a spokesman for Scott Turf, the real stuff, the ones with the terrible commercial with the redheaded guy whose name is Scotty or Scott or whatever he's like Scott. That's like his role, and he speaks with a Scottish accent, and he tells people to like seed their lawn or something. Like, even if she believes the turf is a serious part of it, she shouldn't say anything because of that deal, because of that spokesperson deal. It just makes her look bad. There's a conflict of interest here, Abby. You created that conflict of interest by signing the deal to be a spokesperson for Scott. Now, and I know it's not just her. I think Alex Morgan is on board. I think Mike McGee has got one of these, right? Like a supporting role, like sitting around, like, hey, something about Scott. What's the hashtag? I mean, I'm giving them free advertising here, but I don't care. What's the hashtag? It's like the real deal or something like that. I mean, she is using the controversy of artificial turf at the World Cup to make money. Directly from that controversy, she's making money. Now, when the original lawsuit was filed, when this coalition of women players went to the whatever that was, the tribunal in Canada, and said, this isn't right, FIFA wouldn't do this with the men. This is a matter of equal treatment. I was on board. I really was. I was on board. I thought, yeah, FIFA is probably screwing with the women because FIFA wouldn't do this with the men. Maybe it's coming. Maybe if some artificial turf company dumps billions in FIFA's lap, it's coming because they're not above it. But I just can't imagine anytime soon FIFA putting out a product at the Men's World Cup that involves artificial turf. Because remember, the policy is the same surface for the entire tournament. If you got natural grass for one stadium, it must be a natural grass for everybody else. If it's artificial turf for one stadium, it's got to be artificial turf for everybody else. So I was all in. I was like, okay, you know what, Abby? I'm with you. Got it. I see exactly what you're talking about. I believe you. Then we got the news, and in retrospect, I should have been more cynical. I should have known. Right before the tournament. Remember we were talking about how the ESPN story on Hope Solo's behavior the night she was arrested dropped suspiciously right before the World Cup? Right before the tournament, or a month before, when the U.S. women were really getting ready and gearing up, when all those pieces started coming out about the background of all the players and where they came from and how hard they worked, all of those things, which are all fantastic. We got Julie Foudy talking to Abby Wambach. They're sitting around on grass, hanging out, enjoying themselves. Beautiful day. Let's talk about some soccer, Abby. How's it going? What's up for the World Cup? How you feeling? And what does she say? She talks about how FIFA told her, Jerome Valk told her, that somebody offered to put natural grass in every venue. Oh, wait, that was Scott? Scott, the same company that she then signed up as a spokesperson with. The same company she's then making money from. Now we're talking about suspiciously convenient. Here it is. Here's the hashtag. Keep it real. Now, I'm not gonna argue that it goes all the way back to the beginning and this whole thing was ginned up to create an opportunity to make money off a spokesperson deal with a natural grass company. No, I'm not saying that. That's ultra cynical. That's beyond the pale. But I do think it's now that there is that deal in place, and now that Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan and all these other women and some other people out there in the soccer world are making money off of the controversy, you shut up about it. You have to shut up about it. You're not adding value now. Now you're making yourselves look greedy. Now you're making yourself look like a sellout. And I don't think Abby Wambach's a sellout. I think it's just new territory for everybody. I don't think she intentionally is making a big issue out of it because she's, I don't know, trying to capitalize. I think she's got this deal. She may really believe that the turf sucks, but she doesn't understand that there's a conflict of interest that is going to color every word she says from here on out. Robert in LA, what's up, man?
Hey, good morning, Jason.
Good morning, my friend.
Hey, I want to call you and talk to you about the Women's World Cup coverage on Fox that you were asking about on Friday.
Yeah.
I remember I sent you a tweet asking about like sideline reporters and it's like distracting, and you said that if they're adding information to the game,
if
it's
they
a good
are.
thing, and I agree with that.
Yes. Okay.
But unfortunately, when they interrupt in the game, it's kind of distracting because they're not talking about information; they're talking about like, other things around it. Because I was watching one of the France games, and then they interrupted the game to talk about how the French national team women are excited to play in the national stadium in Paris in 4 years, and that was when a goal was scored. So we missed the whole like build up.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was wondering, like, was it really necessary to interrupt for that?
You know, it's tough because I think occasionally, especially when it comes to injury or tactical adjustments or attitude, that a sideline reporter can add to the broadcast. But if you're going to go with a human interest element like that, like the French women are extremely excited to be playing in the national stadium when they host a tournament in 2019, you better time it right. Like, you better time it perfectly. Because if you don't, if you time it when it steps on a goal or it steps on a buildup or it steps on something momentous happening, now you look terrible. Now you look like you're valuing this silly little bit of news over the actual gameplay. And you can't do that.
Yes, I agree with what you're saying. And I have one more example of that. I was watching one of the Brazil games, and they did the same sideline reporting again, and they interrupted in between because they're like an attack on goal, and then it was a counterattack, and then they tried going back to the reporter, and then they interrupted the reporter again for a counterattack. It was going back and forth. The game was really open, and like I watched it like 3 times within like 4 minutes, they tried to like force the reporter, and it was just get. And then at one point they fall out to the reporter like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we interrupted you." It's like this game is so distracting. And I'm like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, "Oh, come on, man! You can't wait till like a substitution happens to bring it up to the sideline reporter."
Yeah,
which is I think it's.
These are the little kinks though, Robert, that they got to work out. And and look, it's not cool that it's happening during the Women's World Cup rather than previous to this. It's not cool that they haven't worked out these things ahead of time. But sometimes you don't know how it's going to go until you're in it, until you're in, knee deep in covering a tournament. And hopefully they learn from this. And hopefully they learn from this before the tournament's over. I mean, hopefully they make these adjustments mid-tournament rather than have this be the way things go. Again, I don't mind throwing it to Julie Stewart-Banks or whoever if the information she has is relevant to the game on the field and it's not stepping on something happening on the field. But the moment you mess up, the moment that you bring in information that doesn't really impact the gameplay, and the moment you bring in your sideline reporter and have to step on her, and then she's got to step on you, and then you got to step on her again. No, that's when you cut it off and say, you know what? Let's just ride this thing out. If we have information, have the play-by-play announcer pass that information along. Like, Julie Stewart-Banks is down on the sideline, and she tells us so-and-so has a knee injury and will probably be out for the rest of the game. Blah, blah, blah. That's it. That's all you do.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And one more thing, they're also, I don't know if you noticed it, they also have like a rules expert. They're bringing in like this Dr. Joe to explain the rules.
Yeah,
when I think the commentators actually know the rules themselves. Like they ask him like, why is this a penalty? Why is this an offside? Why is this a yellow card? And I'm like, I'm just asking them that. I'm not asking too much. I'm just know the basic rules. But I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but I just wanted to say that. And
I think they.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Robert. I know Dr. Joe has been around on Fox for a little while now, and I know that they like using him, and maybe they find reasons to use him. I could do without Dr. Joe. I could do without Dr. Joe. I'm not going to make any bones about that. I don't think he adds that much to the conversation. I think more often than not, he's a distraction, especially when you go in-game. If you want to go to him at halftime, okay. You throw him on while we're covering the game. Again, you've already got a qualified play-by-play announcer and a strong color commentator. Why do you need these other elements? Sideline reporter, okay. Good information, give it to me. Dr. Joe, I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I will open the phone lines up again and take more of your phone calls because that's what we're doing here on a Monday. 646-832-3909. Soccer Morning, WorldSoccerTalk.com. Be right back.
A nation of heat and sand, a father who ruled by force, a mother who said, of course, a nation of fearful men.
The best way to watch Copa America and the greatest players in the world, including Leo Messi, Neymar, James Rodriguez, and Alexis Sanchez, is on Sling International's exclusive broadcast of Copa America on BN Sports. Sling TV is the #1 live international TV service in the U.S. It's a safe and legal streaming service that delivers your favorite sports and more to your TV, tablet, phone, and computer. For just $10 a month, you can watch every single Copa America game live or on demand, featuring Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Chile, Uruguay, and more. Plus, Sling International gives you access to Barca TV, Real Madrid TV, the New York Cosmos, Serie A, and more top networks offered by Sling TV. There's no commitment, no annual contract, and no satellite dish needed. Don't miss the best leagues in the world on Sling International. Sign up today at www.sling.com/soccer. Again, that's sling.com/soccer.
Welcome back to Soccer Morning on World Soccer Talk with Jason Davis.
Here we are back on Soccer Morning. I didn't mention NASL yet. I do believe that the New York Cosmos won the spring season and did so with an undefeated record in the North American Soccer League. So good on the Cosmos for finishing out the season strong. Clearly the best team in the league at this point. Finished the spring season on 20 points from 10 matches played. Tampa Bay in second, 19 points. And then a gap between those two teams and Carolina and Minnesota, who both finished on 14. Remember, Minnesota started the season poorly, so they climbed up the table to get to fourth. The Cosmos go into the playoffs. We have a break here. Then they play the fall season. The winner of the fall season goes into the playoffs, and then the top two teams on overall points combined between spring and fall go into the playoffs, I think. If I'm wrong, tell me. I think that's right. So whether you finish, whether you win the spring season or not, you obviously need as many points as possible to set yourself up to collect more in this fall and blah, blah, blah. And then you make the playoffs. Rayo Roscoe 2 on Twitter is going at me about this turf issue. Men have played important games on turf in Champions League. Pele played with the Cosmos. The U.S. have played qualification games on the men's side on turf. I didn't see Club America having trouble scoring goals in CCL finals. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying, man. And yes, the men have certainly played on turf before. This is not new. There was turf in Russia at the Luzhniki. Obviously, there's turf at Saprissa, where the United States has played many a qualifier, and there's been many CCL games. Obviously, there's turf at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, which is what you're referring to when it comes to Club America. But there's not a tournament being run by FIFA in which the entire tournament is held on turf at the senior men's level. Okay, they have had U20 World Cups on turf, but they have not had a World Cup on turf. That's the point, okay? That's the problem for the women. And I'll get to another opinion about Abby Wambach in a second, but Daniel down on ATL's up on the line. What's up? What's up, man?
Hey, good morning, Jason.
Good morning, my friend.
I just wanted to touch up on a different subject, if you don't mind.
Sure, man. Turn it any way you want.
I don't know. Did you talk about Diego Fagundes' goal?
I mentioned it. It was a stunner. The man's on fire right now. I'm a little disappointed. I almost wrote this and I forgot to include it. I'll spit out this opinion now. I think that, he did get benched for a while. He wasn't getting a lot of games, but he's back in that team now and he's playing great soccer. I think people are sleeping on Diego Fagundes a little bit because we're disappointed he didn't end up being a U.S. international. I think that's part of it for us. I'm not saying that people don't rate him. I think people think he's a very good player, and obviously his homegrown player status means a lot for MLS. And I think eventually he will be sold somewhere. But for the time being, part of the problem is not only was he benched, but he ended up turning out for Uruguay, and now we're kind of not as excited about him as we used to be.
Hey, that goal was something else, and I wish him the best of luck, to be honest. And if he gets sold, I hope he gets sold within, hopefully, the next not this one, but the next transfer window. See if he ends up going to Europe or something.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very talented player. There's no doubt about that. The fact that he can get on a Uruguay youth team after playing out, coming through the MLS system is pretty good. I mean, I'm not saying that Uruguay is like super stocked. They produce top level players like Suarez and Cavani and whatever. I'm not saying that they're so rich in talent that it's a big deal that Diego Fagundes is getting called up. But I'm saying that it's notable, at least, that Diego Fagundes, playing his soccer in MLS, having come through the Revolution system and living in Massachusetts, is getting called up by Uruguay. I think that's interesting.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about something else. The Galaxy game ended in a 1-1 draw, and I don't know. I think I know Zardes. I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I know Zardes is just coming back from international duty. But I don't know if it's me, but it seems like he's kind of getting complacent with his position. He's not as explosive as he was last year.
Are you serious? I thought he was having a good year, and I thought people liked what he was doing. Are you really? That's interesting. I'll have to go and take a better look at him. Go ahead.
There's no one else fighting for a striker position. I mean, who else do you have? You have Gordon, Buttle. You have Zardes, and then you have sometimes JV. You know?
Yeah. You mean Bradford Jameson?
Oh no, I mean he's hurt right now.
Oh, you mean Jose Villarreal?
Jose. Yeah. So I mean, if the Galaxy could get another striker this offseason, you know, I want to see Zardes being pushed for his position.
That's where we are right now with Gyasi Zardes. I would love to. Okay, I need to hear from other Galaxy fans out there because this surprises me a little bit to hear that you think that Gyasi Zardes is getting complacent and needs to be pushed for his position. I thought we were past that point.
I'm not saying he's not a bad player. He's an excellent player. He's a great talent. But you know, it's to me he seems like, I'm not saying he actually is, but from the way I see him play, he's gotten a couple goals this season already. You know, he's not that explosive. And again, it could be because there is no midfield help. There's no Sarvas. There's no Donovan. But you know, even the greats come out and score goals.
Man, I think you got some really high standards, Daniel. I think your standards.
I got too high standards.
Yeah, I think your standards are real high. That was I think that's a fine result for LA on the road this weekend, considering that no Robbie Keane again. Still trying to work out what that midfield is supposed to be like. Gonzalez played relatively well. You had Leonardo there. No AJ. I'm not sure he would have started guaranteed, but no AJ. Dan Gargan over there on the right side. So I mean, they did okay. And again, as you said, Gyasi Zardes coming back from playing internationally. I mean, scoring a goal against the Netherlands and being dangerous against Germany and making it. I mean, I thought he looked good against Germany. I don't know. Maybe he downshifted a little bit when he got back to the States. But just give the man a little time. Let him get back into it before you start ripping him apart on national radio or internets, whatever.
No, on the national level, he's great. He's good. You know, he's top. You know, he's a top striker right now. Club level, I like to see him improve a little bit more. I'm not trying to bash on him. I'm not trying. Like I said, I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Yeah, you called him out.
I can't do what he does.
Daniel, you called him out. You called him out right here on Soccer Morning. Now he's going to hear about it, and he's always going to hate that dude named Daniel from Atlanta.
I hope he hears it too, because I love the man.
I'm just messing with you. I'm sure it'll be fine. I think you'll get his legs underneath him. Appreciate the call, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
There goes Daniel in Atlanta. Good stuff. All right, so we're gonna get to Roberto here because he's got a topic I want to talk about, which is Copa America. But I promised an opinion on Abby Wambach from Twitter. Sean B_US. I don't think her deal with Scott Grass would influence Abby's opinion about play and plastic grass. And I think Abby is entitled to have an opinion about and against plastic pitches, even though she sells grass. That's hilarious phrasing, by the way. But, all the teams play on the same pitches, so all the teams are equally handicapped by having to play on plastic. I'm with you most of the way, Sean. I'm with you that she probably doesn't, she's probably not influenced in her opinions by her Scott Grass spokesperson deal. And I'm not saying that she's not entitled to having an opinion. I'm saying that after you play poorly and then you come out in the press and you rip apart the artificial surface after you've already signed this spokesperson deal, you don't look good for it. That's what I'm saying. Let's go. And Cody pointing out that I completely spaced on the U20s losing to Serbia in the quarterfinals of the U20 World Cup. I'd rather not talk about it. It was penalties. It hurts too much. Roberto, what's up?
Remember on Friday I told you which match would be the upset? It was either Brazil or Peru or Paraguay, Argentina.
Yes, I believe you did say that, if I remember correctly. It's been a long weekend, Roberto. You can't expect me to remember everything.
Yeah. Well, I was proven wrong.
Yes, you were.
Proven wrong.
Well, but you got close with Paraguay and Argentina.
Oh, yeah. I'm over the moon over that match, Jason. I'm over the moon over that match.
Well, I didn't get a chance to see much of it. Just give me a sense of how it played out and how Paraguay managed to, stay with Argentina.
Yeah. No, of course. Basically, Argentina scored goals from a defensive mistake by the Paraguayan defense. Second goal was made by a penalty from Lionel Messi, and then second half it was just a completely different mentality, different formation. They weren't able to maintain under pressure, so they scored from a brilliant strike from Nelson Valdez and from a set piece in the last minute.
So, a good point to open the tournament for Paraguay, a game that most people would see as a loss on paper. But again, this tournament's awesome for that, Roberto. It doesn't give us what should happen on paper. It gives us some wacky stuff. And I do feel bad for Peru because I think they probably deserved a point out of that game against Brazil. And you got to give it up to Venezuela for their win.
Yeah, of course.
So you're excited?
Big shock of the tournament so far.
Yeah, shock of the tournament. You're excited by by how things are playing out to this point?
Yeah, of course. But I think at the beginning I expected that there was going to be at least a shock or two. And what type of tournament the Copa America is. So it's been great to see so far. Have you been impressed?
I mean, the atmospheres are great because that's what South America does. The games have been fascinating. I mean, and the thing about when South Americans get together, like I think at the World Cup, sometimes you get, stalemates or the European sides control the ball a little bit more. Or there's just a different dynamic. But when South America gets together and just has a South America party, and yeah, I know Mexico and Brazil are there, or Mexico and Jamaica are there too, but when South America has a South America party, the pace is on fire for 90 minutes, back and forth, up and down the field, just as fast as you can go, because it's the energy of that tournament.
Do you think we see the same exact thing next year?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do we see the same exact thing next year?
I don't know.
Here in the United States?
I don't know. I think I don't know what the temperatures are in Chile right now, so I don't know how much that's affecting things.
Cold.
It's cold. Okay, so yeah, it's winter in South America. That's typically the obviously we flip things around. If you bring that tournament up here in the middle of the summer, if it happens, and I hope it does, it's going to be 95 degrees in a lot of places. It's going to be humid in some places. It's probably going to slow things down a lot, which is sad, but you could still have a good tournament.
Yeah, of course. It's a big party either way.
Absolutely. All right, man. I appreciate the phone call. It's going to be good.
No problem.
We're watching. Yeah. Paraguay, by the way, ranked number 85 in the world right now. So, again, this tells you what Copa America is capable of. They are and not that FIFA rankings are everything. And Paraguay is probably better than 85. But they're ranked 85 in the world, and they went toe-to-toe, and they drew with Argentina in the opener of the Copa America tournament for them. And as I said, Venezuela getting the result, result that they did by shocking Colombia. And everybody looks at Colombia and goes, you got James, you got all of this talent, all of this amazing talent on the Colombian roster, attacking wise. Why can't they score any goals? Well, because we know that it's not all about your attack. It's not all about your forwards or your attacking midfielders. You need to have that structure behind them, the platform from which to operate in order to even get the ball in decent places to have an opportunity to score. And that's Colombia's problem. That's Colombia's issue. It was against, I didn't watch much of that game against, Venezuela, but certainly there is an issue for Colombia going forward. It doesn't mean that their tournament is over by any stretch of the imagination. Sorry, I wanted to check on Venezuela's ranking because Colombia is 4 in the world. We know Colombia is way up there, and we also know the thing about that I love about Venezuela, and when they play well, and they do something on the international soccer stage, is number 72. Venezuela's ranked. What I love about that is that Venezuela is not a soccer country. It's a baseball country that is coming around to soccer. I mean, they've had some fantastic talent come out of that country. There's no doubt about that. But the number one sport hasn't been soccer until maybe it's taken over. I don't know. We'll get somebody to talk about Venezuela's sports culture on this show. But I just love the fact that they're making noise in this tournament. Last call for phone calls, 646-832-3909 here on the Monday. As I said, we wanted to get somebody to talk South American and Copa America. Didn't work out. I'm sure we will grab somebody to talk Mexico this week. Again, a goalless draw against Bolivia to open up their tournament. Not the best result. And now without Rafa Marquez. And they take on, I had it in my outline. Who do they take on in their next match? Chile. Tonight. They play the hosts. The hosts who did not open up the tournament in incredibly impressive fashion, but got the job done. Figured out a way to get the job. And lots of pressure on Chile at home, obviously. Lots of pressure on them to do something and win this tournament or get to a final and give those people who are coming out to these matches something to cheer for. Copa America underway. That was against Ecuador, by the way. 1-0 win over Ecuador. Copa America, Women's World Cup, MLS. What else? NASL. What else am I missing? I'm sure USL results from this weekend. I'm sure there's a bunch of interesting stuff. I mean, was it this weekend that the Seattle Sounders 2 player on his from his back 2-foot crotch shot to an opponent and was sent off? Yeah, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that. So if you are still hungover from your soccer, it's a good hangover to have. Vincent Toronto pointing out that Venezuela finished 4th in 2011. We're more competitive than ever in World Cup qualifying for this last World Cup. They didn't make it, but more competitive. Certainly on the up. There you go. Mr. Brewington's mentioning the Bobby Wood transfer. Yes, I left that off my list. I apologize for that. Thank you very much, Mr. Brewington. Bobby Wood making the move to Stuttgart. Now, whether or not that's a direct result of his play against Germany, and you have to imagine that there's something to that. It's good to see him stick in Germany, get an opportunity to move up to the top level. Perhaps he can get some playing time at Stuttgart. That remains to be seen. I don't know the striker pool there right now. And you have to give credit to Jurgen Klinsmann because I think he's really good at this. That's, by the way, that's his hometown, his original club. I think that Jurgen Klinsmann is very good at working angles to get his players into challenging positions, into good places. I think Jurgen Klinsmann knows how to work a phone. He's got a reputation. I think for the most part, people like him and they respect his name. And when he works to get a player a move, he's usually pretty good at it. I don't think he's had a hand in every move that every American's made since he took over, but he's had a hand in enough of them that you should give the man credit. Because I think that is a part of the job that maybe we overlook on occasion. Certainly a part of the technical director job, wanting to see American players in good club situations that will challenge them and help them grow. And pretty impossible to argue that that's not Stuttgart for Bobby Wood, provided he play. The usual caveat, provided he play. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up this edition of Soccer Morning on a Monday. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you go to iTunes, give us a rating and a review. Thanks to those of you who called in. Go to backheel.com/store to buy a Soccer Morning mug. It's very pretty. Holds water and coffee and other liquids, as you would imagine it would. We have Soccer Morning t-shirts at 30fc.com. And I think that's it. Trevor, am I missing anything? Did I leave out any news? If I left out news, you have to forgive me. There was too much stuff happening this weekend. Just too much stuff. Oh, that's too loud. Turn that down. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. If you got Sirius XM, make sure you join us for Soccer Morning on Sirius XM FC 94 in about an hour. See you there.